My name is Kayla Thompson, 32 years old, working the admin desk at a mid-sized bank in Syracuse, New York. The last week of December 2025 feels heavier than usual. The snow is relentless, the wind slices through my coat, and every streetlight flickers like it's already tired of the holidays. I pull into my apartment parking lot after a long shift badge still clipped to my jacket, fingers numb from the steering wheel. I'm barely inside, kicking off my boots when my phone lights up. The screen reads, "Mom and Dad." I answer. Their voices come through together, overlapping like they rehearsed it. Richard and Susan. My parents don't waste time on "how are you?" Straight to it. New Year's is at our place this year. 50 relatives are coming. Like every year, you know what needs to be done. Upscale. Don't let us lose face. No details, no, please, just the assumption that I'll handle everything: cooking, cleaning, serving, paying for the perfect spread. I stand frozen in the dark living room, breath fogging in the cold air. Years of this exact moment flash through me. I open my mouth, then close it. The words come out quiet, automatic. Of course. They make a satisfied sound and hang up first. I don't move for a long second. The apartment is silent except for the low hum of the heater. I walk to the closet, pull out my old suitcase, the one with the scuffed edges and the zipper I fixed with a paperclip. I start folding clothes. Not a full pack yet, just enough to make it real. This time, I'm not arguing. I'm not explaining. I'm leaving. And when they find the short note I'll leave on their kitchen table, their faces will drain of color, but the real surprise is still waiting ahead. If you've ever swallowed a yes when every part of you screamed no, drop a comment below. What happened when you finally stopped saying it? Share your story. I'm listening. I drop the phone on the coffee table and sink into the couch. The apartment is dead quiet except for the faint rattle of the radiator kicking on. No explosion of anger, no tears, just this heavy, familiar exhaustion that's been building for years. It's not dramatic anymore. It's routine. I stare at the blank wall across from me and let one memory surface, the one that still stings the most. Last New Year's. I was already stretched thin at work, long hours, back-to-back deadlines, the kind of pressure that makes you forget what 8 hours of sleep feels like. My manager had hinted at a promotion if I could take on the year-end audit project. Extra pay, better title, a real step forward. I wanted it badly. But the call came the week before New Year's, same as always. Mom and Dad voices overlapping on speaker, 50 people this time. You know what we need. Upscale. Make it nice. No budget discussion. No. Are you okay with this? Just expectation. I spent 3 days straight after work driving to specialty stores. Imported seafood, aged steaks, bottles of wine that cost more than my monthly rent. The total hit my credit card hard, over $8,000 in one weekend. I remember standing at the checkout watching the number climb, telling myself it was temporary. I'd get reimbursed somehow. I always told myself that. By New Year's Eve, I was running on coffee and adrenaline. I cooked for 12 straight hours in their kitchen while they chatted in the living room. I plated, served, refilled glasses, cleared dishes, wiped counters. At one point, I stepped outside for air and my phone buzzed, a work email. The promotion went to someone else. You seemed unavailable lately, the message read. I stood in the snow, chest tight, realizing I'd traded my future for their party. When I went back inside, Dad clapped me on the shoulder. You're a good daughter. Family first, right? Mom added. That's what daughters do. Sacrifice a little. I smiled, nodded, went back to the sink. I didn't say a word about the overdraft notice that arrived 2 days later, or the interest charges that ate my next paycheck, or how I had to skip meals to make the minimum payment. I blink, and the memory fades. My hands are clenched in my lap. I pick up the phone again and dial Sarah. She answers on the second ring. Hey, you okay? I don't bother with small talk. They called. New Year's, 50 people, same script. A long pause, then her voice calm but sharp. And you said, of course. She exhales. Kayla. Are you actually going to do it again? I lean my head back against the cushion. I don't know. I'm tired, Sarah. Not angry tired. Just done. Like if I keep this up, there won't be anything left of me. She doesn't rush to fill the silence. When she speaks, it's slow, deliberate. You've been their bank and their maid for how long? Every holiday, every gathering. You pay, you cook, you clean, you smile. And what do they give back? Guilt trips about family duty? I swallow. They don't see it that way. Of course they don't. Because it works. You've trained them that you'll always step in. But here's the question this year. What happens if you don't? I close my eyes. Chaos. They'll panic. Relatives will talk. Mom will cry. Dad will get quiet and disappointed. And I'll feel like the villain. And if you do, she asks, what happens to you? The room feels smaller. I picture next January another credit card statement. I can't look at another month of scraping by another piece of my life handed over to their image. I disappear a little more. Sarah's voice softens, but not with pity, with clarity. You're not their ATM or their event planner. You're a person. With bills. With a job that's already killing you. With dreams you keep putting on hold. If you keep paying for their perfect holidays, you're choosing their comfort over your survival. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I don't want to be the bad daughter. You're not. You're just finally acting like an adult who has limits. We sit in silence for a moment. The heater clicks off. Outside, snow taps the window like it's trying to get in. I have to think, I say. You do. But don't think too long. They're counting on you to cave. Like always. I thank her and hang up. The apartment is still dark. I don't turn on the light. I just sit there. Suitcase open on the floor, clothes half folded. The memory of last year's overdraft notice sits heavy in my chest, not as shame, but as evidence. Evidence that this isn't generosity. It's erosion. I stand up slowly. My legs feel unsteady, but my mind is clearer than it's been in years. I walk to the kitchen counter, open my laptop, and log into my bank app. The balance stares back at me, lower than it should be even before this holiday hits. I close the tab. No more calculations. No more mental math about what I can afford to lose. I go back to the suitcase and add one more sweater, then another. Each item feels like a small reclaiming. I'm not packing to run away forever, not yet. But I'm packing to prove something to myself, that I can stop the machine before it grinds me down completely. The clock on the wall ticks past midnight. Tomorrow is a work day. But tomorrow is also the day I start moving toward something different. I zip the bag halfway, set it by the door. Then I sit again, phone in hand, staring at the screen. No new messages from mom or dad. They don't need to check in. They assume I'm already planning menus, calling caterers, swiping my card. They assume wrong. I set the phone face down. For the first time in years, the silence in the room doesn't feel like loneliness. It feels like space. Space to decide what comes next. The sky is still black when I slip out of the apartment. I don't turn on the hall light. I just grab the keys, lock the door behind me, and head to the car. The engine starts with a low rumble that feels too loud in the pre-dawn quiet. I pull out of the lot and drive east toward the suburbs where my parents live, about 25 minutes from my building if traffic is light. At this hour, there's no traffic. Just empty roads, snow piled along the shoulders, and the occasional street lamp throwing orange pools across the windshield. I keep the radio off. My hands grip the wheel tighter than necessary. Every mile feels like crossing an invisible line. I've had a spare key to their house for years, since mom insisted after dad's knee surgery, but I've never used it like this. Never for something they wouldn't approve of. The thought makes my pulse thump in my ears. Their neighborhood comes into view, neat two-story houses, Christmas lights still blinking on a few porches even though the holiday is over. Their place is at the end of the cul-de-sac, dark, except for the motion sensor light that flicks on as I turn into the driveway. I park on the street instead of pulling in. Less chance the sound of tires on snow will wake them. I cut the engine sit for a moment, listening to the ticking of the cooling motor. Then I step out. The cold hits like a slap. I walk quickly up the shoveled path Dad always clears it early and slide the key into the lock. It turns smoothly. The door opens with a soft click. I step inside, close it behind me without letting the latch snap. The house smells like pine from the candle Mom burns every winter and the faint coffee grounds from yesterday's pot. No sound from upstairs. Yet. I move straight to the kitchen. My boots leave wet prints on the tile. I should have taken them off, but there's no time. I open the pantry first. Shelves stocked exactly as I left them last week. Cases of imported sparkling water boxes of artisanal crackers, jars of olives and marinated vegetables, packages of prosciutto and aged cheese. Everything for the upscale spread they demanded. I start pulling items down, stacking them into the reusable bags I brought from the car. My movements are quick but careful. No crashing cans, no rattling bottles. Next, the refrigerator. I swing the door open. The light spills across the floor. Top shelf vacuum-sealed salmon fillets, ribeye steaks, a wheel of brie. Middle trays of pre-made hors d'oeuvres I ordered online 2 days ago. Bottom drawer, fresh herbs, lemons, specialty mustards. I load it all into the bags, one armful at a time. The bags are heavy now, handles digging into my palms. Then I hear footsteps upstairs. Slow, deliberate. Mom. She's always been a light sleeper. My body locks. I'm holding a box of caviar in one hand, a bottle of champagne in the other. The stairs creak. She's coming down. I have maybe 10 seconds. My mind races, drop everything and run, hide in the pantry, pretend I'm here to help early. No. That's the old reflex. I set the items down silently, grab the 2 fullest bags and move toward the back door, the one that leads to the side yard and my car. It's farther than the front but quieter. The back door sticks a little from the cold. I twist the knob hard. It gives. I step outside into the snow bags swinging. The motion light snaps on bright and accusing. I freeze for half a second, heart slamming against my ribs. No alarm. No shout from inside. I keep moving fast but not running. I make it to the car, pop the trunk load, the bags slam it shut. My breath clouds in frantic bursts. I slide behind the wheel, start the engine, and pull away without headlights until I'm out of sight of the house. Only then do I flick them on. My hands shake on the wheel. I did it. I took everything. But the adrenaline is still surging, mixing with a strange, sharp relief. I don't go home. I drive to the parking lot of a 24-hour diner on the edge of town, pull into the farthest spot, and kill the engine. My phone is in my lap. I open the contacts, scroll to the catering service I booked last month, the one that promised elegant New Year's platters for 50. I hit call. It's early, but they have a 24/7 line for changes. A woman answers, sleepy but professional. Hi, this is Kayla Thompson. I need to cancel the order for the 31st. Yes, all of it. No, there's no reschedule. Just cancel. Thank you. I hang up before she can ask why. My thumb hovers over the cleaning service next the crew I've paid twice a month for 3 years because Mom complained the house was too much for her alone. I call. Same routine. Cancel effective immediately. No explanation needed. Each cancellation feels like cutting a string. Not clean, not painless. There's a tug of resistance, but the line snaps. I lean my forehead against the steering wheel. The dashboard clock glows 5:47 a.m. The sky is starting to lighten at the edges, gray turning to pale blue. I've crossed the point of no return. They'll wake up soon. They'll see the empty shelves, the bare refrigerator, the note I left on the kitchen island before I walked out the back door, a single sheet of printer paper folded once with 6 words in my handwriting. I don't reread it in my mind. I don't need to. I know what it says. I shift the car into drive and head toward the highway. Not home. Not yet. Somewhere else. Somewhere I can breathe. I turn off the highway at the first exit after the diner lot. The road narrows into a two-lane that hugs the eastern shore of Oneida Lake, then curves south toward the Finger Lakes. The cabin I booked is near Skaneateles, about 45 minutes from my parents' house if you drive steady. I've never stayed there before. It was just a listing I found months ago when I was daydreaming about a weekend alone. Now it's where I'm going. The snow is heavier here, fat flakes sticking to the windshield wipers. I keep the speed down, hands steady on the wheel. My mind is quiet for the first time in hours, not empty, just focused. I don't replay the kitchen scene. I don't wonder what they'll say when they wake up. I just drive. The turnoff comes sooner than expected. A gravel road branches left, marked by a small wooden sign half buried in Snow Lakeview Cabin Rentals. I follow it, tires crunching over fresh powder. The path winds through pines for half a mile before opening to a small clearing. The cabin is dark, single-story, cedar-sided with a wide porch facing the frozen lake. I park beside the only other car in the lot, a beat-up pickup that belongs to the caretaker probably. I kill the engine and sit for a minute. The silence outside is absolute except for the soft patter of snow on the roof. I grab the suitcase from the back seat, sling it over my shoulder, and carry the two heaviest bags from the trunk. The key is in a lockbox by the door code sent by email last week. I punch it in the box, clicks open. Inside the cabin, it's cold but clean open. Living area, stone fireplace, kitchenette, one bedroom in the back. I drop the bags on the counter, unzip the suitcase on the couch, and start unpacking. Not everything, just enough to make the place feel occupied. A sweater over the chair, toiletries in the bathroom, charger plugged in by the bed. Small acts. Proof I'm here. I light the fireplace with the logs already stacked beside it. The kindling catches quickly. Flames lick upward, throwing warm light across the room. I sit on the rug in front of the hearth, knees drawn up, watching the fire. No phone notifications. I left it on silent in the car. I don't check it. Not yet. The drive gave me time to think about the note. 6 words. No greeting, no signature, no "I'm sorry" or "I love you" or "we'll talk later." Just the truth, plain and final. I wrote it on the kitchen island while the back door was still open behind me, wind blowing snow across the threshold. I folded it once, set it where they couldn't miss it, right next to the spot where Mom always puts her coffee mug. I didn't hesitate. I didn't reread. I just walked out. Now in front of the fire, the weight of that choice settles differently. Not regret, not triumph. Something quieter. Like closing a door I didn't know could be closed. I've spent so many years leaving pieces of myself in their house, time, money, energy, that I forgot what it felt like to take something back. Today, I took everything back. The food. The money I would have spent. The labor. The assumption that I would always be there. I stand up and walk to the window. The lake is a flat white expanse under the falling snow. No boats, no lights on the far shore. Just stillness. I press my palm to the cold glass. The chill seeps through, grounding me. I'm not running away forever. I'm stepping aside, letting the machine they built run without me inside it. I turn back to the room. The fire is steady now, popping softly. I make tea from the kettle on the stove, plain black, no sugar. I carry the mug to the couch and sit again. The suitcase is still half open beside me. I don't zip it shut. There's no need. I'm not leaving this place tomorrow. I booked it for a week. Maybe longer. I haven't decided. Outside, the snow keeps falling. Inside, the fire keeps burning. I sip the tea slowly. For the first time in years, the quiet doesn't feel like something to fill. It feels like something to keep. I set the mug down and lean back. My eyes close. Not from tiredness, exactly from release. the kind that comes when you finally stop carrying what was never yours to hold. The first cars pull into the driveway around mid-morning. I'm not there to see it, but Jake texts me later with a photo. 3 SUVs lined up, crookedly, suitcases already stacked on the porch. A couple of kids running circles in the snow. No one knocks politely. They walk right in. The door was never locked after I left. The house greets them with silence. No scent of roasting meat. No clatter of dishes. No holiday playlist humming from the speakers. Just cold air and the faint echo of their own footsteps. Aunt Linda arrives next. She's the one who always shows up early to help set up, carrying her trademark tote bag full of extra napkins and serving spoons. She steps inside, stops in the foyer, and looks around. The living room is bare. No garland on the mantel, no candles lit. No charcuterie board waiting on the coffee table. She walks to the kitchen. The counters are empty. The refrigerator door hangs slightly ajar from when I left it. She opens it fully. Nothing. Not a single yogurt cup, not a leftover container, not even the basics Mom usually keeps stocked. She closes the door slowly. Then she turns to the family trickling in behind her. Where's Kayla? No one answers right away. Cousins shuffle coats onto the banister. Kids ask for juice. Adults exchange glances. Mom and Dad finally come down the stairs. Mom in her usual holiday sweater, Dad in slacks and a button-down. They stop at the bottom step. Mom's face goes pale. Dad's jaw tightens. Linda doesn't raise her voice. She just asks, calm and direct. Who paid for all of this in past years? The wine, the food, the catering trays. Who booked the cleaning crew? Dad clears his throat. Everyone pitches in. It works out. Linda tilts her head. Pitches in how I've never seen a Venmo from anyone. I've never seen anyone hand over cash. So who's been covering it? The room goes still. A cousin in the back. Mark, I think, mutters something about family stuff and trails off. Mom opens her mouth, closes it. Dad shifts his weight. We all contribute in our own way. Linda doesn't let it drop. One person contributing in their own way doesn't fill a house for 50. One person doesn't buy $8,000 worth of groceries and liquor. One person doesn't pay for professional cleaners twice a month so the place looks magazine ready. So who was it? Silence stretches. Someone coughs. A kid asks again for juice. No one moves to get it. An older relative, Uncle Ray, Dad's brother, steps forward. He's not confrontational, just confused. If it wasn't split, then who covered this year? The food's not here. The drinks aren't here. What are we supposed to do? Dad looks at the floor. We'll figure it out. Ray raises an eyebrow. Figure it out with what? There's nothing in the fridge. Nothing on the shelves. This isn't a potluck surprise. This is empty. Linda folds her arms. Kayla always handled it. Every year. The receipts were on her card. The deliveries came to her address sometimes because she was coordinating. She never asked for a dime back. Not once. Mom finally speaks, voice thin. She's just running late. She'll be here. Linda looks at her. She left a note. 6 words. You read it. You know she's not coming. The note sits on the island where I placed it. No one has moved it. It's still there. Folded, waiting. A younger cousin, Jess, pulls out her phone. I'll text her. She won't answer. Linda says quietly. She's done answering. The group drifts into the living room. Some sit on the couch. Some lean against walls. The kids run upstairs, then come back down whining about no snacks. No one offers to order anything yet. They're still processing the absence. Not just the food. The entire structure they assumed was always there. Dad walks to the window, stares out at the snow. Mom stays near the stairs, hands clasped tight. They don't speak to each other. They don't speak to anyone. Ray breaks the quiet again. So this year, who's paying for whatever we end up eating? Because I drove 4 hours. I'm not driving back without dinner. No answer. Linda sighs. Not dramatically, just tired. We can order takeout, pizza, Chinese, whatever's open. But let's be clear, this isn't Kayla's fault. This is what happens when one person stops carrying everyone else. A few heads nod slowly. Others look away. The room feels smaller now, the high ceilings pressing down. No music. No laughter. Just the low murmur of people realizing the holiday they expected isn't coming. Someone finally pulls out a phone and starts searching for nearby restaurants. Another person asks if anyone has cash. No one volunteers to cover the bill. They pass the phone around, debating entrees like it's a business meeting. Mom and Dad stay where they are. They don't join the conversation. They don't offer to pay. They just stand there, faces blank, while the family they invited begins to feed itself without them. The clock on the mantel strikes midnight, but no one cheers. No fireworks outside, no champagne corks popping. Just the low hum of the refrigerator that's still empty, and the occasional creak of the house settling under fresh snow. The takeout arrives in greasy paper bags and cardboard boxes, pizza from the place on Route 20, fried chicken from the chain down the block, a couple of plastic tubs of salad that no one really wants. They spread it out on the dining table, no tablecloth, no candles, just paper plates and plastic forks from the delivery. Napkins serve as placemats. Someone finds a stack of old coasters and passes them around. People sit wherever there's space, kids cross-legged on the floor, adults on folding chairs dragged from the garage or leaning against counters. No assigned seats, no centerpiece. No one says grace. They just start eating. Jake texts me from the corner of the room. He's sitting on the arm of the couch, phone half hidden under his sleeve. The message is short. Parents in the dining room corner. Not talking much. Everyone's eating off paper plates. No one's posting stories. First time I've seen that. I read it twice, then set my phone face down on the cabin coffee table. The fire is down to embers now. I don't add more wood. I just watch the glow fade. Back at the house, Jess, the cousin who tried texting me earlier, looks up from her slice of pizza. She's 28, works in marketing in Albany, always the one posting perfect family photos. Tonight, her phone stays in her pocket. She wipes her hands on a napkin and says almost to herself, "Honestly, this is kind of fine. No pressure. No one stressing about the right wine or the perfect presentation." A few people nod. Uncle Ray, still at the table, chews slowly and adds, "We could have done this years ago. Order in, sit down, talk. Would have saved a fortune." No one laughs, but the tension in the room eases a notch. Not because they're happy, because they're realizing something. The holiday they expected, the one with polished silver coordinated dishes and Instagram-ready moments, never really depended on all that. It depended on one person who isn't here. Mom sits at the far end of the table, untouched plate in front of her. She picks at the edge of a napkin, folding and unfolding it. Dad stands by the window, arms crossed, staring out at the dark yard. Neither of them has eaten. Neither has spoken since Linda's questions earlier. They don't need to. The silence says enough. A younger cousin, Tyler, maybe 24, leans back in his chair. "I mean, we all showed up expecting the usual. But look around. We're still here. We're eating. We're together. That's what matters, right?" Ray shrugs. "Sure. But it's also what happens when the usual stops being possible." Someone else, Mark from earlier, sets his plate down. "I never thought about how much went into it. The shopping, the cooking, the cleanup. I just showed up and ate." A few murmurs of agreement. Not defensive, not accusatory, just acknowledgement. Linda stands up, collects a few empty boxes and carries them to the kitchen. She doesn't lecture. She just says over her shoulder, "Next year, if we do this again, we plan together. Or we don't do it at all." No one argues. The kids finish first and run to the living room, turning on the TV for the ball drop in Times Square. The adults stay at the table longer than usual. Conversation drifts work, weather, kids, school, but it's quieter than past years. No one boasts about the food. No one compliments the host. There's nothing to compliment. Dad finally sits. He doesn't eat. He just stares at his hands. Mom reaches over, touches his arm once, then pulls back. They don't look at each other. Jake texts again. They're not fighting. They're just quiet, like they don't know what to say. I don't reply. I don't need to. I can picture it, the dining room lit by the single overhead fixture, paper plates, scattered half-empty soda cans, the faint smell of grease instead of rosemary and garlic. The family that always gathered under the banner of perfect, now gathered under nothing at all. Midnight passes. The TV shows the ball drop. A few people clap softly. The kids cheer. The adults offer weak smiles. Then they start clearing plates. No one assigns tasks. They just do it, stacking boxes, folding napkins, wiping crumbs with damp paper towels. Cleanup takes 10 minutes instead of hours. When the last guest heads upstairs to the spare rooms, the house settles again. Mom and Dad don't move. They stay at the table, lights low, surrounded by the remnants of a meal no one planned and no one paid for in advance. Jake sends one last message before he crashes on the couch. This is the quietest New Year's I've ever seen. No drama, just reality. I set my phone aside and add another log to the fire. The flames catch, brightening the cabin walls. Outside, the snow has stopped. The lake is still frozen, the sky clearing to stars. I don't feel victorious. I don't feel guilty. I feel present. Here, in a place that's mine for now. The holiday they built on my silence is over. What's left is what was always there. People who showed up, ate what was available, and went to bed. No fanfare. No perfection. Just a family stripped down to its basics. And for the first time, I'm not part of the cleanup. The cabin stays quiet for the next few days. I don't leave the property. I walk the short path to the frozen lake edge, sit on the porch with a blanket, watch the sun move across the ice. No calls. No texts I answer. The phone stays on do not disturb, except for one contact, Aunt Linda. She's the only one I haven't blocked. Her call comes on the third morning after New Year's. I see her name on the screen and answer without hesitation. Kayla, hi, Aunt Linda. She doesn't waste time on pleasantries. Her voice is steady, matter of fact, the way she always speaks when she's delivering news she knows will land hard. Everyone's gone now. House is empty again. I stayed an extra day to help your mom put things away. I don't interrupt. I just listen. They haven't said much since the night of the 30th. Your dad spends most of his time in the garage. Your mom stays in the kitchen cleaning counters that are already clean. They don't look at each other much. When they do, it's quick, like they're afraid of what they'll see. She pauses, then continues. A few relatives called after they left. Uncle Ray phoned your dad yesterday. Asked about last year's wine bill, said he remembered seeing the receipt on the counter once when he was over. Your dad didn't answer, just said he'd look into it. Gee, Ray didn't push, but he told me later he's not sending a check for anything until someone explains. I shift the phone to my other ear. The fire from last night is ash now. I haven't rebuilt it. Jess texted your mom too. Asked why you weren't there. Your mom said you were under the weather. Jess didn't buy it. She replied that she'd seen the note. Your mom didn't respond after that. Linda's tone stays even. No one's yelling. No big scenes. But the questions keep coming. Quiet ones, texts, calls. Who handled the costs? Why was it always one person? What happens next year? Your parents don't have answers they can say out loud. They've never had to. I stare at the window. The lake looks different in daylight. Less still, more cracked where the sun hits. They're not blaming you, she says. Not out loud, but they're realizing there's no one left to step in. No one to call when the next gathering comes around. No one to foot the bill or cook the meal or make the house look like a magazine spread. They're left with what they've always had themselves, and they're not used to it. She lets that sit for a moment. I'm not calling to guilt you. I'm calling because I saw what happened when the truth finally got said once clearly in a room full of people. It didn't need shouting. It didn't need tears. It just needed to be spoken. And once it was, everything shifted. They can't unhear it. They can't pretend it didn't happen. I exhale slowly. What are they doing now? Trying to act normal. Your dad mowed the lawn yesterday, even though it's winter and there's snow on the grass. Your mom baked cookies no one's eating. They're filling time. But the silence between them is louder than anything they've said in years. I don't respond right away. The cabin is warm from the sun coming through the glass. I stand up, walk to the kitchenette, pour water into a glass. My reflection in the window looks calmer than I feel. I'm not going back, I say. I know. I'm not explaining. You don't have to. I take a sip. The water is cold. Thanks for telling me. You deserve to know what's left behind, she says. Not to fix it. Just to know. We hang up. I set the glass down. The phone stays silent after that. No follow-up texts from mom or dad. No more questions from cousins. Just quiet. I walk to the porch. The air is sharp but not biting. I sit on the steps, elbows on knees, watching the lake. A few birds skim the ice looking for open water that isn't there. I think about the house in Syracuse, the one I left empty. I think about the people in it. I don't feel anger. I don't feel pity. I feel distance. The kind that comes when you finally stop trying to hold everything together. The truth didn't need volume. It didn't need a fight. It needed air. Once it had air, it spread. And once it spread, there was no putting it back in the box. I stand up, brush snow from my jeans, and go back inside. The cabin is still mine for now. The days ahead are still open. I don't know what comes next. But I know what doesn't: the old role, the old weight, the old assumption that I'll always be the one who makes it work. Outside, the sun climbs higher. The ice glints. I close the door behind me. Weeks pass at the cabin. The snow melts in patches, then refreezes at night. I extend the stay twice. The owner doesn't ask why. He just sends a new code for the lockbox. I walk the lake trail every morning, breath fogging in the crisp air, boots crunching over half-frozen mud. No one knows where I am. No one has my new number. I changed it the day after Aunt Linda's call, simple, clean, no forwarding. The old phone sits in a drawer, powered off. The old email address forwards nothing. I don't check social media. I don't look up family group chats. I don't wonder what they're saying. I know enough from the silence. The silence is the answer. One afternoon, I sit at the small desk by the window and open my laptop. The cursor blinks on a blank email. I type the subject line, final. The body is short. To mom and dad, I choose to leave. No need for reply. From now on, no contact. Kayla. I read it once. No additions, no softening, no explanation they already know. I hit send. The email leaves my outbox. I log out of the account, delete the app from my phone, block the old address on every platform I use. Then I close the laptop. They have no way to reach me. No phone number. No email. No address forward. In the United States, an adult child has the legal right to go no contact, full stop. No court order needed. No justification required. They can't force communication. They can't demand access. They can only live with the absence they helped create. I don't feel cold when I think about it. I feel clear. The consequences unfold without me there to watch. They pay for their own groceries now. No more specialty orders on my card. No more catering trays arriving at their door. When the next family birthday comes, they host small, immediate family only, or they don't host at all. Relatives stop asking. The invitations dwindle. The group texts quiet down. The image they cultivated, the generous hosts, the perfect gatherings, fades, not because anyone shouted, because no one stepped in to maintain it. Their credit card statements arrive without my payments to cushion them. Their weekends stretch empty without my prep work. Their conversations with relatives carry an unspoken question that never gets answered. They live with the gap. The gap grows. I don't hear about it directly. Aunt Linda doesn't call again. Jake doesn't text. The family grapevine goes silent toward me. That's how it works when you remove yourself from the circuit. The stories stop reaching you. The guilt stops arriving. What's left is your own life. I returned to Syracuse in late February. Not to their house. To my apartment. I walk the same streets, shop at the same stores, work the same job, but everything feels lighter. The promotion I missed last year opens again. This time I take it. I negotiate better hours. I save money. I breathe easier. The freedom isn't loud. It's steady. Bills paid on time. No overdraft alerts. No secret purchases for someone else's party. No exhaustion from cooking for 50 while they sit and talk. I cook for myself. I eat when I'm hungry. I sleep when I'm tired. Simple things that used to feel impossible. I don't hate them. I don't miss them. I don't wish them harm. I just don't belong to their story anymore. Setting boundaries isn't revenge. It isn't punishment. It's self-preservation. You draw the line when the cost of staying becomes higher than the cost of leaving. Sometimes the other side doesn't cross it. Sometimes they don't even try. That's their choice, not yours. Not everyone changes when faced with the truth. Some people cling to the old version of the story because it's comfortable. Some people rewrite it to make themselves the victim. Some people simply fade away. You can't control that. You can only control your side of the line. I learned that the hard way, but I learned it. Now when the holidays come around again, I don't dread the calls. There are no calls. The silence is mine to keep. And in that silence, I finally hear my own voice. I don't regret it. I don't apologize for it. I just live with it. And that is enough.